Hi guys, welcome back to 100% Mags. So in today's video we are going to be covering all the latest NUFC news out there. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So starting off on this video, we are going to be covering the recent news, of course, that has just come out from Scott Wilson of the Echo. He is saying that Newcastle United's Karl Darlow is on with talks with Bournemouth. That is a fantastic move for Bournemouth if they can secure the signature of Karl Darlow. He's got the ability as a goalkeeper to do some brilliant things there. Of course, he is still being linked with a move to Hull and also our rivals Middlesbrough as well. So, of course, it all remains to be seen which one he will choose to join. But Scott Wilson of the Echo is coming out and saying that Bournemouth are in talks with Karl Darlow. So if, of course, he does end up choosing Bournemouth, that would be a fantastic move for him. It'd be a fantastic move for Bournemouth as well because they'd be getting a really good, experienced goalkeeper. Now, that coming from me is a lot because I'm not the biggest fan of Karl Darlow, not in the fact of his ability, but in the fact of the guy himself. He didn't have the best of moments at Newcastle United, in my opinion, and he was always more a number two than a number one for me. And of course, he has fallen way down that pecking order now since, of course, Nicky Pope has come into the club, and of course, with Martin Dubravka still being at the club as well. Martin Dubravka is obviously or number two for the time being until, of course, we can get somebody else in there. And we've got quite a lot of goalkeepers as well, so we do need to offload some people in the goalkeeping department. Of course, we're having Nicky Pope, Martin Dubravka, Loris Karius, Karl Darlow and Mark Gillespie. So there's quite a few in that goalkeeping department, so we definitely need to start moving a few on, I think, and then, of course, seeing where we can go from there. But Bournemouth are in talks with Karl Darlow, according to Scott Wilson from the Echo. But, of course, like everything with the transfer market, you've got to take it with a pinch of salt. Until you see the player holding the shirt, nothing is confirmed. But moving away from that one, of course, in talking about more transfer news, according to Blend, I believe they're pronounced, Newcastle are preparing an offer for Eintracht Frankfurt winger Jesper Lindstrom, having shown an interest in him. He's a versatile forward and is available for between 30 to 40 million euros, they're saying. Now, I'm not sure on who Jesper Lindstrom is myself, because I haven't actually seen this guy play. I do watch Bundesliga football, but I haven't actually seen Jesper Lindstrom play, to be honest, because I haven't actually watched many games with Eintracht Frankfurt in them. But of course, we'll have to wait and see on this one, if he is any good or not, and if it is, of course, legit, or if it's just again another thing like we've seen a lot since our owners have come in, where agents just throw Newcastle United's name on their client because they know that it will boost the amount of money that they'll get for their client, and it'll boost the amount of offers that they'll get coming in for their client as well. But moving away from that one, we will talk about some recent news that broke from the iNews, and Mark Douglas at the iNews, of course, who put out the article on this one, and he says that Newcastle are set to host Saudi Arabia versus Mexico friendly at St James's Park. And he also talked about the unveiling, of course, of the away shirt as well, which we will talk about as well in this video. But covering the Saudi Arabia versus Mexico friendly first, of course, as we know, Mexico, of course, have a friendly against South Korea on the 12th of September in England. On the 7th of September, though, however, they have to play against Saudi Arabia in a friendly. And it is being talked about that, of course, that game will be played at St James's Park. It just seems logical at the end of the day, that they would choose St James's Park, being that we are owned by PIF, the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia. So it does seem the logical approach to have the game, of course, play at St James's Park. And again, this also benefits us as a club as well. It benefits the coffers at Newcastle United, and it allows, of course, us to get some money in whilst the international break is on as well in September. So that is fantastic news. Obviously a lot of Saudi Arabian fans will be very happy with that news as well, because that will allow, of course, for many Saudi Arabian fans that are Newcastle United fans who haven't had a chance to visit St James's Park to actually visit St James's Park. And added benefit, of course, getting to see their national side play at St James's Park as well, which is a massive historic stadium. We've got an absolutely fantastic stadium, and it'll only get better under these owners as well. Is, of course, many talks of expansion are in the works behind the scenes, with feasibility studies going on and all of that as well, which we will cover on the channel as more news, of course, comes out about them over the coming months, and even in the few years on as well, because it will take time to get the expansion going and to build up St James's Park. It's not going to instantly happen. Rome wasn't built in a day, as the saying goes. But we're going to see Saudi Arabia play against Mexico at St James's Park. That'll be interesting to see. Of course, there'll be a lot of people out there that'll harper on about sports washing, but they can all go lump it. At the end of the day, we're always going to have them saying this. They're never going to go away from saying it, but we're just going to have to take it on the chin and keep moving on, to be honest. Also in the same article, Mark Douglas also talked about the, of course, waste strip that we released now. He also included my actual tweet off of Twitter, which was quite interesting to see. Of course, where it says, so this picture is doing the rounds on social media ahead of Newcastle United Saudi Arabia themed away kit announcement for the 23-24 season. Nago's not sure how legit it is, but thoughts on the shirt. Of course, that was included into Mark Douglas's article. Newcastle have actually released that shirt as well, so it was legit. And I've got to say, this one isn't nearly as Saudi inspired as last season's, but at the end of the day, I'm not really bothered, to be honest, about all these Saudi inspired shirts, as they want to call them. At the end of the day, it's a perfectly good way of showing up our FFP by making something that looks Saudi, so that the Saudi Arabians will go out there and buy it. At the end of the day, there's plenty of Saudi Arabian fans that are now Newcastle United fans, or even Saudi Arabian fans that have been Newcastle United fans before the takeover even happened. So they're definitely going to go out there and buy the shirt. And if that means that we get more money in the coffers, then so be it. Like I said, all these people going around harping on about sports washing, none of them even knew what sports washing was until the Newcastle United takeover. It wasn't even really a thing, to be honest, until Newcastle got the takeover, and now all of a sudden everybody is a liar, everybody's a human rights activist, because Newcastle United have got more money than everybody else and they don't like it. But at the end of the day, that's life. You don't always get things that you want. You don't always get things the way you want it. So just sit back, watch what happens, and just you have to just deal with it, basically. Us Newcastle United fans are going to enjoy every single minute of it. But like I say, the kit was legit. There is also images up on screen, of course, of Sven Botman wearing the kit, Bruno wearing the kit, Trippier wearing the kit. But a lot of people are hopping on about wearing green kits and saying the Saudi-inspired kits, but they fail to remember that Newcastle United has wore green kits in the past. We had one back in the 90s, of course, which you'll see an image of that up on screen. We had a green kit just recently, in the 1920 season, of course, which you'll see an image of that up on screen as well. So it's not like we haven't wore green kits in the past, and before. We've been wearing them for a long time before Saudi Arabia came on the scene and bought Newcastle United, and PIF bought Newcastle United, so It's not like it's a first thing. So I don't know where these media keep coming up with this crap of Saudi inspired kits, but all that matters is that Newcastle United perform on the pitch. I've got to say, I am a fan of the away kit. Newcastle also released a goalkeeper kit as well on the same day, which of course is pretty basic, but at the end of the day, it is a goalkeeper kit. I do have one problem with it though, is the price that Castor are charging, but we know that Castor are a very money-driven company. After last season, how many shirts, how many products they produced last season for Newcastle fans to buy, for us Newcastle fans to go out there and buy. There was just so much put out, and of course that is because they know for a fact that they're not going to be around here for very long. So they are trying to make as much as they can off of Newcastle whilst they have this deal with Newcastle to be the kit makers. We are well above, for a client of Castor's size. You know, Castor shouldn't really have a team of our ability. Our team's draw is much bigger than what Castor can produce, and it's quite obvious by the lack of stock in the store. Even the Saudi Arabian fans are complaining as well because Noon can't, distribute shirts out to them over in the Middle East. And that's not Noon's problem. That's Castor again, with stock not being there to, of course, be able to distribute out to all of these different areas and to be able to make sure that everybody has the shirts on time, delivered on time as well. Shipments not, people not getting their shirts on time, the stitching being poorly done on them as well, badges being upside down, loads of different stuff. Hopefully we don't see too much of that this season. As Newcastle United fans, it was absolutely ridiculous last season, seeing, Newcastle badges being upside down, the stitching being wrong as well. And a lot of people I've seen complaining about the stitching of the United on the front of Newcastle United shirt as well. At the end of the day, that is purely down to the fact that the badge is an older badge now, and of course with the advances in technology, it's going to be, of course, more prominent. But it's been like that for years on the old shirts as well. If you go back and you look at an old Newcastle United shirt, the stitching of the United, of course, the I looking like a T on the United, it's been like that for years. But the only way you can really sort that would be by changing the font on the Newcastle United badge. That would be probably the only way you could change it. And to be honest, it would more than likely still happen as well. It's just the way it is. But all that matters really is that Newcastle go out there and perform on the pitch. Who cares about what the badge looks like on the shirt? Who cares about what the players are wearing? All we should really be caring about as fans is our team going out there and giving it 100%. And I've got to say, in my personal opinion, Eddie Howe has given everything since coming into this club. All of the players have given everything, and it's proven that last season by the way we played. Getting to a League Cup final for the first time since 1976, getting to our first cup final for the first time in 24 years. So that proves, that our players are doing the absolute best and more than the best as well. At times, we've seen Trippier continue on in a game when you can see that he's definitely tired. Bruno playing on an injured ankle, when he should probably be resting it. In so many other moments, we've seen as well. But let us know your thoughts anyway down in the comments below. As always, remember, like, share, subscribe to 100% Mags, and also make sure to donate to the channel if you can. If not, then of course you can join the membership. It's just a new feature on the channel. It's $1.99 a month, and of course you get perks of a shout out every month on the channel, and also priority replies to your comments in the comments section on videos as well. Until next time, I'll see you all in the next one, and how are the lads.